Hey, I'm Coach Micheal Burt, the Super Coach, and I've got a new podcast out that I'm incredibly excited about called The $1 Million Coach. I've spent the last 28 years of my life coaching in some capacity. At 25 years old, I wrote my first book. At 31, I would start the process of building a multi-million dollar speaking and coaching business. And now I'm doing summits every year. I'm doing mentoring right now called $1 Million Coaching Mentoring, where I'm coaching people that want to speak, coach, train, lead. I'm also doing a $1 Million Coaching Summit, and I'm going to do 4 of these next year. I've got one more this year, September 30th through October 2nd. And so I said, man, I need to do a podcast because I want to put this on YouTube. I want to put it out to the market. I want to help people really understand the path and trajectory that I've been on in my life that can help them, right? Like I've spent my lifetime learning how to find special, package special, and sell special. I've been coached by some of the best people in the world on how to distribute my message to the world. At 15 years old, I had a local dentist that was big in dramatic arts who took me under his wing and mentored me in how to speak, how to write a speech, right? I went to the Broyhill Leadership Academy when I was 15 that changed my whole life. At 25, when I wrote my first book, I went on the speaking circuit and began speaking. I've spoken to thousands of people in the world. So if you're out there and you have an interest in writing a book, speaking on a stage, sharing a message, that's the premise of this show, is every week I break down a concept. Now today's concept is real simple. It's how to connect to anybody, anywhere, anytime. You see, when people choose a speaker for a conference, they're choosing a couple of things. They're choosing a person who has done something big in the world, like you were an astronaut, you were a Top Gun instructor, you won a championship, you've written best-selling books, right? You've climbed to the top of Mount Everest, you've overcome some obstacle in life, you've taken a breakdown and turned it into a breakthrough. You have a message, right? They're also looking for people who have a point of view, like you have an interesting point of view. They're looking for people that are celebrities or people of interest, or they're looking for regular people who are not famous, a guy like me who can just connect with an audience. And my strategy for connection is you need to understand this concept of connection. Part of being a person of interest, part of being a great speaker, part of being a great writer, part of being a great podcaster is the ability to connect to people of all walks of life. Now you say, how do you do that? How many of you know a real smart person that is really bad at connecting to people? How many of you know a real smart person that's real dumb, right? How do you know a real smart person that just can't figure out? They don't have any charisma. They don't have any quick-wittedness. They don't know how to walk into a room. Like one of the things I'm teaching my 8-year-old daughter, she's 7, she'll be 8 next month, is how do you walk in a room? How do you keep your head up? How do you meet and greet people? How do you be grateful? If you want to study connection, study Garth Brooks. Watch the documentary on Garth Brooks and see how he connects. So if I broke it down, what is he? He's grateful, he's humble, he's intense, he's positive, he's real, he's authentic. You see, this is something I struggle with for many years of my life, is I wouldn't show people who I really was. Even if you study my DISC profile, and I'm a specialist at DISC, it shows you that my natural style is very dominant, but also very social. Like my natural style is to be friendly, to connect, to have a big personality. It's also to be driven and focused, right? In certain situations, I adapt that style significantly. Either my dominance, overpowers my social, or my social, I lower my dominance and become more social. I become more friendly. I smile more. I'm more diplomatic. I'm not as dictatorial, right? In some situations, it's like, this is it. This is how it's going to be, right? In some situations, I'm friendly. Now, how do you combine that? So I combined it, and I said I'm intense and I'm positive. I'm not intense and negative. See, most people get intense and they get negative. I get intense and I get positive, right? Pete Carroll, Dabo Sweeney. These are some of the greatest coaches in the world right now. They're intense and they're positive. Now, for you got to learn connectivity. You got to learn that connectivity is such a big part, because this session is based on this one concept. People don't remember what you said. People very seldom remember what you said, but they will always remember how you made them feel. Big time people know how to make other people feel like $1 million. Big time people know how to connect with the audience. So here's what they do. Pete Vargas would teach this. They start with the heart. See, you see me come out and you see me speak, I say, man, I believe everybody needs a coach in life. I believe a good coach can change your life. How many of you have ever had a good coach in your life? And people raise their hands. And I said, wasn't it during that period that that when you had that great coach that you showed the most growth in your life? Yeah, that's right, coach. See, I'm seeding. Robert Cialdini would call that seeding. I am persuading them. I'm getting them to say yes. What if I said, would you consider yourself a progressive person? Oh yeah. Would you consider yourself open to anything, closed off to nothing? Oh, absolutely. Would you consider yourself looking for an advantage if I could give? Oh yes. I've already got you to say yes 3 times in the first 15 seconds. Right? How many of you believe everybody needs a good coach in life? Boom, I do. Okay, great. How many of you believe that during that period you had the best experiences of your life? You were growing. Oh, boom, right then. How many of you believe you accomplished a whole lot more if you had a great coach in your life? Boom, I would. Okay, good. I'm seeding you. I'm connecting to you. And then I'm going to connect with your heart. I was raised by a single mom who had me when she was 16 years old. Do you know how people got looked at or viewed in 1976 when they had a kid in high school? Can you imagine the scorn and the shame to have a kid in 1976 in high school and to be a kid raising a kid? Can you imagine how people looked and judged? Right? But that single mom taught me how to get up, show up, dress up, grow up. We don't whine, we don't complain, we don't make excuses. She was a kid raising a kid, but let me tell you what she taught me. She taught me grit and toughness and pray drive. Right? Now, when I say that, I'm connecting to all the people in the room. I'm connecting to people. Okay? I'm connecting people back to a memory in their life. I'm connecting back when they were a kid, or the mother they didn't have, or the family that didn't teach them that. Or the single mom in the room who says, I'm that mom, right? This is connection. So Pete Vargas would teach you, if you're building connection, I think connection starts with how you answer the phone. Connection begins with how you send a message. Connection begins with how you meet and greet a person. Like I'm teaching my daughter that attitude is a posture of the body that is manifested from an internal thought. You have a thought and you manifest that externally. That is attitude. It is a posture of the body. The Bible talks about knees and elbows. Oh, the knees that wobble, right? Like bad attitude, people walk around and their knees are down and their lows are and they're like this right here. Good attitude, have a posture, man. I'm here. I'm a person of interest. I mean business. I'm here to do business. I'm here to change something. I'm here to improve something. That's connection. Connection, how you answer the phone. Connection's how you walk in the room. Connection's how you sit up on a meeting. Some of you right now are trying to sell virtually and your connection's pitiful. You got bad lighting. You don't look good because you're wearing your pajamas. You hadn't fixed your hair in 14 days, right? You're sitting at home feeling sorry for yourself and you're trying to figure out why don't you have a good connection to people? Why wouldn't people want to book you to speak at their virtual conference? Okay? I got dressed up this morning for me. I did virtual. There's nobody here. Me, just me. I feel better. I feel more confident. Just by wearing something that looks good and feels good, I feel better. My confidence is higher. I'm ready to do something big. Now, compare that with me just wearing a pair of blue jeans. I did feel like that yesterday, right? So here's my point to you. When you think about your mindset and connection is everything about you. Are you likable? Are you friendly? Do you follow through, right? So when I go speak at an event, man, when I walk through there, I'm smiling. Even if people don't know me, I'm walking, how you doing? Good to see you. Glad you're here. Good to meet you. Many times I'll go out and sit in the audience and I'll say, what's the number one thing you want to learn today? And they'll be like, well, who's this dude talking to me? Like, why did you come to this conference? Then they introduce me and I get up from that seat and I walk up on stage. And they're like, oh, dang, I was sitting right beside that dude. I went to a conference once and I sat down beside a guy who had a magnetism about him. And everybody was stopping by saying hi to him. Hey, man, how you doing? Good. And I'm like, who is this dude? Something about him. He's got a connectivity. He's got an incredible connectivity. And a few minutes later, from the stage, they said, we would like to introduce one of the all-time #1 speakers in the world. Right now, he has the #1 clout score on social media. This is when they measure clout, meaning you had more engagement than anybody in the world. He said, this guy right here has more engagement than anybody in the world. He's connected to more people. And his name is Randy Gage. And he stood up from sitting right beside me, and he walked up on stage. I knew the second that I sat beside him that he was a person of interest. People of interest elevate the energy of a room. They connect. They understand the power of this one statement. Very seldom do you remember what I had to say, but you will always remember how I made you feel. John Maxwell wrote the book, Everybody Communicates. Everybody talks. Very few connect. I think it's his best book he's ever written. And they said that he was such a master at connecting to people. If he was riding down the road with you, just 10 minutes, he had questions prepared on a note card that he was going to ask you. When you have dinner with Maxwell, it's this incredible engagement and exchange of connection between him and the people. It is never boring. It is never static. It is never stuck. It is always elevated. This exchange of energy. Some of you listening to this podcast or watching this are terrible at connecting to people. You don't know how to walk into a room. You don't know how to keep your head up. You don't know how to smile. You don't know how to say thank you. You don't know how to follow up. You don't know how to lend a voice of encouragement. You don't know how to do any of these things. And therefore, your connectivity is low. You got to work on this. You got to work on names. You got to work on follow-up. You got to work on how you make people feel. The first sale you have to make every day is to your own self. Why would I hire you to be my coach if you don't have an incredible confidence about you? Why would I hire you to be a speaker at my conference if you can't connect to anybody? Why would I hire you if you're not even a person of interest? Why would I hire you if you don't even feel good about you? Being famous in today's world is not, you don't have to be a celebrity. You just have to be connected. People have to feel like they can connect to you. So let me give you some tips. If you're posting on social media, people need to see all sides of your life. They need to see you in a business setting. They need to see you in a personal setting. They need to see you pursuing passions, even outside of work, hobbies. They need to see you and your family. They don't just need to see one aspect of your life. I work, I work, I work. They need to see the whole picture of you. They need to see the good days and the bad days. When you're speaking on a stage, you need to start with the heart. Tell a heart story. Then you need to move to the head. Teach them something. Give them concrete, practical advice, real meat and potatoes. Then end with the heart story. This is a Pete Vargas concept. When you finish, a good speech, in my opinion, that has connected, people laugh, people cry, people think, people take notes, people want to change, right? Today when I was teaching my coaching program, Monster Producer, right in the middle, I'm going down this path, and man, I just shifted gears. And I said, at the end of your life, there's going to be 4 people that get up and say something about you. A friend, a family member, community member, a coworker. What are they going to say? Because I've spoken and given the eulogy at some funerals before that I didn't have anything to say. They hadn't accomplished anything. They hadn't done anything. They hadn't helped a lot of people. Their own family members didn't even know them. What do you say? You don't want to be that person, man. You don't want to be that person. So here's the strategies I want you to take from this deal. I want you to pick up a copy of my book, Person of Interest. That book is about connection. I want you to read Maxwell's book, Everybody Communicates, but Very Few Connect. I want you to look at my 4-week mentoring program that I'm doing right now called $1 Million Coaching Mentoring, where I coach you and everything I've learned over the last 15 or 20 years. If you said to me, what's the number one thing you're selling? It ain't books. It ain't a message. It's not a product. It's not even a coaching program. It's connection. It's energy. It's intangible. It's invisible. It's a feeling. Until you get good at this, you'll never understand how to make millions of dollars speaking or coaching or training. I'm Coach Micheal Burt. Another episode of The $1 Million Coach. How to connect anybody, anywhere, anytime. What if you could be coached by 2 of the top coaches in America on 2 specific things necessary for your success: confidence and comebacks. I've partnered with Tim Story, celebrity life coach, to build a 4-week mentoring program on how to build unbreakable confidence, how to take your setback and make it a comeback. Tim and I will be personally coaching you throughout a 4-week cycle of mentoring. We're going to include our book on confidence. We're going to include downloads. We're going to include Q&A questions. We're going to include a methodology and a roadmap to help you have the confidence for you to have a comeback. It's time for you to sign up and be coached by us. It's time for you to fight the funk. It's time for you to get your swag back. Tim Story, Coach Burt, Confidence and Comebacks starts in July.